Rules, rules, rules. If you are growing an online business, you have probably been bombarded with a million must-follow rules from every so-called expert on the internet. But let's be real. How many of these rules are actually legit and how many are total shit? Because here's the thing. Some rules are time-tested and worth following. And then there are others that are absolutely meant to be broken. In this episode, I am calling out the first of few major online business, quote, rules or best practices that I believe we can liberate ourselves from if we so choose. And trust me, these are big ones, the kind that might ruffle a few feathers. Okay, so let's get into it. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. So let's dive right in, shall we? Like I mentioned in the intro, I am calling out some rules that I'm going to make a case for breaking and liberating ourselves from if and only if you want to. That is very, very important because some of these rules work for people. There's a reason why they're so popular. All right. So if you hear this and you're like, wait, I love that role. I love doing it. Great. That's so good. This is just for the people that might be following some of these because somebody told them to and they hate their life. I'm giving them an alternate solution. Now, my original plan was to lay out 3 of these rules in today's episode, but I had so much to say for the first one that I decided instead to make this a series. That way I can give proper context and value for each of these that I come up with. So that being said, if there is a rule or best practice that you personally do not align with, or maybe you're not so sure about, and you want me to do an episode on it, please slide into my DMs and give it to me at Allie I. Reeves on Instagram or at All In with Allie podcast. And we will link those for you below. And maybe I will do an episode. We'll see. Now, let me preface what I'm about to share with you. These rules that I'm going to share over the coming episodes are popular opinion type rules, meaning it seems that most people that I personally engage with on the internet would preach one or maybe even all of these rules as best practices. But if I have learned anything about running an online business well and consistently growing it, it's that at some point you have to skip to the part where you do things your way and what's best for you, even if most people do the opposite. Because a best practice might work for most, but that doesn't mean it will necessarily work for you. So as you listen to these upcoming episodes, I'm going to ask that you do your best to set aside anybody else's voice that pops into your mind, myself included, and simply just ask yourself and yourself only, is this rule one that I would like to follow or one that I would like to abandon? And you may wholeheartedly disagree with me on some of these, and that is perfect. The point of this episode is to call out a best practice that I personally have found to be harmful, outdated. Harmful isn't the word. Let's say problematic, outdated, and or one-sided, and then give an alternate strategy for those that want to go in the opposite direction. But they are popular opinions for a reason. So per usual, do you, boo. Okay, going in no particular order. Starting with the first popular internet rule for today that you get to liberate yourself from if you want. The Biz Bestie Rule. Dun, dun, dun. You do not have to be your audience's best friend. Can you believe that shit? You get to liberate yourself from Biz Bestie culture. What is Biz Bestie culture? It's giving the illusion that you are friends with everybody that follows you. Operative word, illusion. In a similar vein, this also is kind of like any guidance that tells you that you should try and be, quote, more approachable or more relatable and maybe even more accessible to your audience. It's impossible if your goal is to grow. It's phony, and in my opinion, toxic and ill-advised for most businesses. Not all, but most. Now, I know many women doing acrobatics to be everything to everyone that follows them. And a few of these women absolutely crush it. Nail it. Knock it out of the park. I can think of a handful that I know personally that have made an art out of the Biz Bestie model, and it works for them. And for those people, I'm genuinely so happy for them because they seem to enjoy it. And when you enjoy a strategy that you commit to, it tends to work. So again, if you enjoy this, tell me to fuck off. But does this mean the Biz Bestie culture is for everyone in every business? No. God, no. As a matter of fact, I think for most people attempting to follow this advice simply because somebody that they trust said that they need to, it does more harm than good. And here's why. I'm going to give you 4 reasons. First, Biz Bestie culture is a fast track to burnout. Straight up. Because not only are you running your own business and all that comes with that, as if that's not enough, but now you have to befriend every Brittany that slides into your DMs. Shout out Brittany, but no, there's no way. It's impossible. Now, the argument for this culture is that it humanizes your business, thus building trust with those following you, not to mention leading to high levels of engagement. But nobody explains that the reason why your engagement is high is because you're breaking your damn thumbs pretending to give a fuck every time somebody slides into your DMs wanting to have a cute little chit chat or to pick your damn brain. Who's been there? So let's call the Biz Bestie strategy what it really is. Poor boundaries, people pleasing, and potentially a lack of confidence in your own authority. Sorry. Unless, okay? I don't like making caveats for everything, but there is one for this one. Unless it is truly a strategic move and you have the type of business that this works for. In that case, I respect it fully. So what types of businesses do I think that this can work for? I'm just glad you asked. I'm sure there are exceptions to this, but I believe the Biz Bestie model typically works best for influencer type businesses and the businesses that sell mostly low ticket offers. When you are scaling commissionable link clicks and low ticket offers, you need engaged traffic and lots of it. So if your favorite way to do that is to position yourself as your follower's sister from another mister, I love it. I'm here for it. Do it. But if that is not your model, this leads me to the second reason I think trying to be the Biz Bestie does more harm than good. This energy in your business can be a detriment to your sales. Why? Because it shifts you from an authority to, a bestie. It gives the illusion that you are an equal or a peer to those following you, instead of positioning yourself as the expert or authority, you're positioning yourself as the bestie. Now, personally, I will happily click and buy a PDF or a shirt from somebody that I really like on the internet. I do it all the time. But when it comes to investing in something that matters to me, whether that be a website redesign that I'm currently doing, business coaching, money management, my health, etc., I'm first and foremost looking for the go-to authority on that particular thing. I'm not looking for the person that I like the most or the person who has been the cutest and kindest to me in my DMs for most things. I'm first and foremost looking for the authority. If that person also happens to be my friend in real life, which has happened, I have invested thousands of dollars in high ticket offers with real life friends, but I'm not going to invest money in someone just because they're super nice and overgive to me on the internet. And also to deepen that, for me specifically, I personally value boundaries and a healthy life business separation. So when I see a woman who's overgiving and overly accessible, or I feel like she's trying to be relatable and contorting herself to be something else to please people, it's a no for me. Because why would I hire somebody who hasn't mastered what I want to master? And if I feel that way, other people feel that way too. Now, the third reason you may want to liberate yourself from the Biz Bestie Rule is because it takes away the energy that you could be giving to your paying clients and those who are actually in your life. Unless you have insane time management or a team that is supporting you with the engagement or with all other things so that you genuinely have the time and energy to be the biz bestie, the way that I'm talking about it, we only have so much time and energy. And in my opinion, you're pouring it into the wrong people. If they're paying you, that's one thing. But if they're not, that is what our content is for, to warm up the leads at scale. So I'm not saying you cannot be in your DMs. I am often in my DMs. I am responding to people. I'm starting some conversations with some people that I follow. I am responding at a rate that feels good. But there is a fine line between being responsive and fostering engagement and relationships and connection versus trying to befriend and bend over backwards to every single person who wants you to. You can still foster connection and community without positioning yourself as the biz bestie. And then the fourth and final reason I will be giving, for now at least, on why you may want to liberate yourself from this internet rule is that it puts the sus in unsustainable. And yes, I just said that. If your goal is to grow an audience and you are giving all you've got to the one that you currently have, and it's taking versus giving to you, you are unconsciously capping your growth. So the difference between extroverts and introverts is social interactions give energy to extroverts and take energy from introverts. And maybe, who knows? Maybe there's something to this. Maybe the biz bestie model for the people that are aligned, maybe they're all like super extroverted and they love it. It gives them energy. And again, go off. Like if that's you, fantastic. I'm low-key jealous in some ways. But like I said, if your goal is to grow and you're already giving all that you have and you feel like it's taking from you, you're going to cap that growth. You will grow to resent the audience that you have now. And then adding on to that audience is going to equal pain to you. And as humans, we will do everything in our power, consciously or unconsciously, to avoid pain, which means you are capping your business's revenue potential as well. So you're going to cap your growth. You're going to cap your potential. I don't want that. I don't think you want that. But that's what we're doing. So, per usual, different strokes for different folks. But this is where we want to really take into consideration a couple things. First, your personal values. You will probably spend the most time in your life in your business or whatever your career is. So if you hate it, it's not going to be around very long. So let's do the things that are aligned to the values and that feel good for you. It will work too. The second thing that we want to take into consideration is your brand, which is how somebody feels when they come across you or your work on the internet or wherever. You can still make somebody feel welcome, warm, and you can still come across as approachable even, while upholding boundaries and positioning yourself as an authority versus a bestie. We also want to take into consideration the type of person that you wish to attract and ultimately work with. I hear this a lot. I've worked with clients who kind of went into like the Biz Bestie trap. And unfortunately, they end up attracting clients that it's really not their fault because they set, the owner of the business set the stage, right? Set the precedent that, hey, I have really weak boundaries. Yes, you can slide into my DMs. Yes, I'm going to get back to you. Yes, I'm going to give you free coaching. Yes, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to do an extra call. I'm going to, listen to your 10 minutes of voice notes back to back and, not sell to you. But then they end up signing the client and they find that the client ends up being a royal pain in the ass. And it's like, well, Hiller, I mean, can you blame her? You made her feel like that was cool. You made her feel like she could come into your house and do that. It's not her fault. It's our job to create and uphold the boundary. Okay. So if you are attempting to follow the Biz Bestie Rule, currently, right now, if you are attempting to follow the Biz Bestie Rule while simultaneously experiencing resentment toward your audience, exhaustion or burnout due to bending over backwards for people who are not paying clients, or just straight up not having a good time while doing it, set yourself free. Abort mission. There is another way. So to sum this one up, I will end with this. The Biz Bestie strategy does work. And if you fucks with it, I fucks with it for you. I'm not going to do it, but I love it for you. But if you do, I encourage you to do it well. Meaning, position yourself as both the bestie and the authority, or the authority first and the bestie. This can be done. I have seen it with my own eyes, and I respect it. But for the rest of you who don't have the energy or interest in being everybody's friend who happens to follow you, it's not the only way. You get to create an online presence where you give value from a place of authority. You attract dream clients from your content at scale, and you run a profitable business with world-class boundaries. I'm speaking from experience. Both are true, both work. Which is right for you? So, you have now received permission that you did not need to liberate yourself from the Biz Bestie model if you so choose. Ta-da! And next week, we will be diving into an even spicier internet rule that, quite frankly, I'm a little nervous to confront. Not gonna lie, but YOLO. So if this was helpful for you in any way, you can give thanks by sharing it on Instagram and tagging me, subscribing to the channel on YouTube, and or leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. All would be so nice. Even one would be nice. So I will link those below to make it super easy for you. Otherwise, I will see you here next week. Bye.